at the time, I was homeless for about 2-3 months. Just got kicked out of my mom's house. I was 17, so I went back to Jersey. I was in Georgia at the time, in Columbus, Georgia. When I got back, I was homeless living in churches with another friend's father. And then I had a friend I was playing on the basketball team, you know, just to get away. And his mom invited me, you know, she saw my situation and said I could come live with her. And then in turn, I was like, you know, I got somebody who in this with me. So, you know, we both went there, and, you know, that's where I started, you know, living for the remainder of the 2011 and 2012 high school year. And man, I was balling. But I can say that I wasn't very serious about my profession with basketball or football, you know, because I was steadily, you know, drinking, smoking blacks. I was still out in the streets, bugging, you know, and either way, I still hit milestones, and I got a scholarship after that. And when I went to school, you know, I can tell you the truth, it wasn't the same. You know, I won a state championship. It was, you in college now, you know, you no longer the big dog on campus. You fit in with everybody else, and now it's like, all right, we here. But I ain't feel the same about the game no more, and I ain't feel the same about me neither. You know, I was constantly rapping. I'm focused on other things other than what I'm supposed to be focused on, what I'm there for. And one night, we was sitting there, and we was drinking. We was going up to this party, and these dudes was outside, and they was like, basically, y'all need to get back. And, you know, dude pushed me to get back. I hit him, dropped him, and his dude other coming, we got to fighting. And all I know, that next morning, they knock on my door saying they got me. They actually asked me, did I have anybody with me? I said no. It's funny because same person I told that wasn't with me, when I got to court, he ended up being on the other side of the courtroom. So it was a crazy time. They charged me with 2 counts of 20 to life. In Virginia, they had their own laws, per se. It was called malicious wounding. Each count carried 20 to life. And they hit me with 40 to life, talking about breaking skin. Broke a dude jaw, another dude eye socket, and yeah, it was really heavy time for me. But, you know, it was something that I was always used to, growing up fighting, you know, fighting for who you is. That's how you got your name where I'm from. You know, you had to fight about yours. You know, even as a kid, you know, it was like, ain't no L's. You don't take no L's. You don't come back on this block if you take an L. You know what I'm saying? So, needless to say, I took a lot of W's when I was younger. But anyway, back to the situation. It was, I learned that day of the arraignment. The prosecutor came to me and was like, you know, we're gonna give you 5 years unsupervised probation, basically telling me to get the hell out of Virginia. The judge asked why. We didn't even know why. They said, and the reason why was because he said nobody was willing to cooperate, even if they got subpoenaed to come to court. He said they didn't care. It was like 2 girls, that dude I told you about, and sent me on my way. He told me I had to pay a fine. I think the fine was like $3,000 fine, and I'm not allowed back on that campus ever again in my life.
So let's break a few things down. Do you actually go to jail?
Yes, I went to jail just for them 2 nights. But after I bailed myself out, everything there was the investigation, and then they charged me. And that's when I got out. And then that's when everything the courts started going. I had to stay in Virginia. I couldn't leave Virginia.
What was the bond?
The bond, actually, I think they messed up because my bond was only $100. Like, literally. And then they found that out. They were pissed, but it's on them.
It was $100. That was like the 10%,
That was my
or that was the total amount.
That was my 10%. And I was like, okay. We hurried up and did that, got the hell out. I'm telling you.
So it was a $1,000 bond. You only had to put $100 down.
Yes, on
the 10% method.
Yes, on a 20 to life. Yes, I'll tell you no lies.
Do you get an attorney or you have a public defender?
Public defender happened, but my public defender just happened to be the murder case. He said like 2 months prior to that.
So this offer of 5 years, you said unsupervised?
Unsupervised.
Was this the first deal they offer you?
Yes, that was the only thing. They didn't talk to me. They didn't talk to us. They didn't talk to me at all. Like I said, I didn't hear nothing till I got there that day. They weren't about to give me no plea. They were about to take me to trial. They wanted me to do that for the years, for the fight. Like I shot somebody, but they wasn't trying to let me go nowhere. Actually, the judge literally was angry. Like, why are we giving him this deal? Like, he wanted me to go to jail. There was no doubts about that.
And what race, ethnicity, or nationality was this judge?
Of course, he's white. I already knew what it was. And I never knew about, it's called a commonwealth. Virginia is a commonwealth. They make up their own, like other places you don't hear malicious wounding. Words like that you don't hear in other states because that's laws that they made. You know what I'm saying? They're allowed to do that. Commonwealth persisted like, I think Virginia, Pennsylvania, it's a couple of them, but yeah, you got your set of rules and you got theirs. And once you get in trouble up there, you under their thumb.
And what city was this? Or what county was this?
This was Norfolk. This was Norfolk, Virginia, county. I forgot the county.
But Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah, Norfolk, Virginia.
What was the race, ethnicity, or nationality of your public defender?
Black. Actually, black. He was actually a Q dog, too. It was funny. Yeah, he was actually a Q dog.
Do you think race had anything to do with the charge, the outcome, the deal, the outcome of the final, I guess, agreement?
The race had to do with me getting charged, yes, because it was basically, you could say, a race thing, because the victims were white. Then teaching a lesson, so of course.
You accept it, and what school was this?
Old Dominion University.
And you had an athletic scholarship?
Athletic scholarship.
And what sport?
Football.
And this was your freshman year?
This was me going into my sophomore year. It was October. It was October that all that happened.
So the initial you going to jail happened in October?
Yep, all that stuff happened in 2013, October.
And how long did it take when you actually show up and you get this offer?
Man, I was there for like, what?
No, how long from the time that you were charged and you bond out before you actually go see the judge and they give you this offer?
It was a minute. My aunt lived around the corner. I was staying with her, just living there for about 3 months, and I couldn't leave the state.
Now, you still attended Old Dominion while you were going through all this?
No, they couldn't. They kicked me off campus. As soon as that happened, they came to the door, told me I ain't allowed back on campus.
Even though you were just charged?
They didn't care.
Innocent, guilty, no sentence yet?
Nope.
They still kick you off?
Kick you off. I ain't get it. They ain't care if I was innocent or not. They ain't care what happened. Only thing is, when somebody say something, you gone. That's like, ain't no innocent till proven guilty. You guilty till you prove your innocence. If that was the case, why would you need a lawyer if you innocent till proven guilty? Somebody would have to prove you guilty. In other words, you proving yourself innocent because everybody's trying to make you out to be guilty. When you're hit with charges, you're guilty of those charges until a lawyer proves you innocent. Because if somebody had to prove you guilty, why do I have to talk? I shouldn't have to say anything. You know what I'm saying?
You lose your scholarship?
Of course. I was actually leaving before then. That was the thing. Like 2 days prior, I was like, I'm done with this. I'm ready to go. I was just done with the whole setup. I was ready to leave. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me no more.
You had a talk with the coach?
Yeah.
2 days before the incident.
2 days before the incident.
This is the conversation.
Yeah.
Did the coach feel some type of way?
He understood, but it wasn't really no conversation to be angry about. I make my moves. It's what I want to do. It's even, bad, good, or ugly. It's your life. You're going to make your decisions. You're going to have to stick by them no matter how hard or easy it go. But you got to deal with the consequences. And that's what I had to do.
So you were going to lose your scholarship anyways?
Yeah, but if I didn't lose it the way I did, I could have went to any school and got another scholarship. It was schools who wanted me. Like I said, I made myself to be a good player. I had over, six scholarships at the time. Yeah. So
was that the biggest school that offered you a scholarship?
Nah, the biggest school that offered me was out of Temple and the University of Nevada where Colin Kaepernick went. I had just came from a trip from there before I made my decision to go to.
What led to Old Dominion for you, that choice?
It was just like it led to me to Global Status Inc. It was a new school. They were coming up, they were going to Division 1A, and I was like, I've always wanted to be somewhere where I can implement my name. And that satisfaction, that feeling like you started something, or you was here when this started. And, your name is attached to that, like you the reason. Like that.
What position were you?
Linebacker.
And when you were a freshman, were you a starter?
No, they redshirted me. They wanted me to go, they wanted me to play in the D1, because when I first went there, we were D1 AA. They wanted to save me till we went to the D1A conference. And it was actually a year and a half till they ever made it there. Because they had to finish the season, my freshman season, then they had to go through an intern season, and then they went to D1A.
And this was a full ride scholarship?
Full ride.
The other 6 schools, was it 6 schools total or was 6 schools plus Old Dominion?
It was 6 schools, like 6 schools total.
Were they all full ride offers?
Full ride, everywhere. Mm.
Do you think, and obviously we're speaking hypothetically, do you think if you would have went to Temple or Nevada or any of the other scholarship offers, do you think this would have still happened? Not the incident, but you falling out of the love for football, you rapping, you doing other things aside from football. Do you think that would have happened at any of the other schools, or was it Old Dominion, that school, that campus, that city or town that led to you losing the love of football, or what?
Oh, nah, my love was gone once I stepped off the high school field. I just went, in this life you do stuff to try to make other people proud instead of yourself. It's your mama dream, your grandmama dream, see you play, see you go off and do stuff. But really at the time, I wasn't even in the space to really want to do that. I was rapping, I was getting out my demons from younger. I ain't too much really care about it, and it was selfish. It's really a selfish act because, you got people who gotta pay for school every day, every year, so it's very, if you look at the hindsight of everybody else and you got that chance, that opportunity where people fight for, and you just throw it down the drain. I felt I slipped into a depression over that. For a couple years, I was just stagnant. I really wasn't doing nothing, I was just here.
So did you have a plan going into this scholarship in this school? Did you say, I'm just gonna give it I just wanna try it for a year and see what all the the hype is about or the fuss is about, or you were just doing it, like you said, for your mom and grandma and all this other stuff. Did you have a plan at all? Was that the plan? I'm just gonna do this for a year and see how I feel?
Nah, the plan was actually, I'm in college, I didn't feel no way, I didn't feel excited, nothing. It was just, you gonna go ahead, we're gonna do this. If we make it somewhere with this, then we do. If not, it wasn't a big deal to me, to be honest, because I was always focused on other things.
Do you think if you would have took football serious, you could have been in the NFL?
That's a tough question. Maybe. I'm probably, you know, I don't know. It depends. But if I took it serious, I think so. If I took it serious as I do rapping, I definitely would have. Because I definitely feel that way.
You mentioned that there was a person that was with you that night that you refrained from saying was there when the police showed up at your door, but then was on the other side. At your arraignment?
Yeah.
Was this the person that you had referenced was coming up with you during the homeless time?
Oh, no.
Oh, this was
this
a
is
different
dude
person?
from college.
Oh, okay.
He was dude from college.
Oh, okay.
I met up there and stuff, came close with.
What happened with your relationship with that person after this?
I never talked to him again.
If you could turn back the hands of time, would you have done anything different in regards to the incident?
I believe in time as a change. You change one thing, you change it all. So if I changed that, I wouldn't be here. And who says if I ain't do that night, I wouldn't did something worse. So I wouldn't change anything. My scars is my scars. If you're gonna judge me off of that, I don't need you.
I want to ask you this next set of questions here. Let me pull them up. What was your mother's reaction to, or grandmother? And this is grandmother on your mother's side?
This is you talking about my mother?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I think you said your mother wanted to see you play.
Yeah,
Did you say your grandmother wanted to see you play?
My mother. I was just saying, like, mothers and grandmothers, they're
okay.
proud. Yeah. But my mother.
Your biological mother.
Yeah.
Well, what was her opinion of the incident? What was her opinion after, or what was her opinion of the incident? And what was her opinion of you making the decision to end the scholarship and end school?
She of course was against it, but she was always she's a school person, but you talking about the same school person, my mother was, I think I was like 10, 11, and this had an effect on me because I was 10, 11, and my mom sat there crying to me because she had a bachelor's degree and she still had to consider being on welfare. So crying to me, and I realized, and I put that situation, I'm like, well, if you got a bachelor's degree and you still out here struggling, fuck school. You got a bachelor's degree, you got women working in McDonald's, you got a bachelor's degree. You got a double bachelor's degree, people. Now you got double bachelor's, now you got multiple degrees. Now people scared to hire you because you too smart. So what is it? You can't be too smart because you overqualified, then you can't be too dumb because they think you stupid. And you sitting here struggling, but you did it the right way and we still struggling. How that sound? So when I got to school, I didn't care. What I'm here for, to end up like that? To end up regular? To be minimum wage? Don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? But, I do stuff for different people, but my situation and me watching my mom struggle all these years to find a job, get more education, and still struggle now because they say she overqualified, None of me. It rubbed a bad taste in my mouth with the whole school thing.
Now, there's different majors, too, that people pick when they do attend a higher level of education. Could your mother have chosen the wrong major, perhaps?
She did multiple. She had the business, then she had the education, then she had the, what's the other one? The only thing she just did now, what maybe could have saved us from a whole bunch of stuff earlier, she just became a lawyer about 2 years ago. So that's the only, but yeah, that right there, my mother, doing it the right way showed me, right way ain't so pretty and clean like everybody think it is, everybody put in front of you. We tried it the right way, it didn't work. We still out there struggling, so what now? What you got to say now? Ain't nothing to say. It's just something to do. I believe you could talk enough, but it's doing that matters.
This example of your mother that you just relayed through this interview, do you think it's a racial thing? Or do you think it's just the system, whatever the race, about the overqualified, the underqualified?
Depending on where you at, it can be a race thing, but as far as, I think it's every race. It's plenty of women, plenty of men, bachelors, associates, a degree, what they make it seem like is a degree is your lifeline into the American dream. That's supposed to open your doors to fantasy. It's bullshit. Because if it's not, how many people go to college? It's not enough space for everybody to live the American dream, because if you want an American dream, the rich gotta give to the poor, so the poor could be middle. But why would they give to the poor so they can be middle and everybody could be middle class? Come on, man. Everybody wanna flaunt too much for that. That's how life is. You gotta have a poor, you gotta have a structure. Poor, middle class, rich.
So seeing that example with your mother, what was your plan?
My plan was, I've been rapping since the 4th grade. I started my first group. It's called the Four Fingers. We didn't know what we was doing, but we was rapping. Lunch lady actually threw out my goddamn notepad book because I was cussing in it. It was funny. But it was always in me. My dad was a rapper. He would be rapping, I'd be sitting there. I would steal his tapes to use for my group. I would steal his tapes, when I used to see him on the weekends. He used to rap all the time, and I was just like, I'd see his notepads, I'd be going through them, seeing what he's writing. And so me as a kid, that's when me and his relationship was, when I still looked up to my father as that person, as that superhuman, as we all do, and then the relationship got sour, and then now we back on track, of course.
Was your father a popular rapper?
No, everybody knew he could rap. Everybody knew my dad knew he could rap. But it came down to a deal, and he was we have a loyalty problem. We're loyal to a fault, even if it causes us damage. I got out of that. I realized that, and I just left a situation from that. And he and his mans, they was always rapping. They wanted him and not his mans, and he said, I ain't signing unless you bring the both of us. Not seeing the bigger picture as in I get on, I bring you on. That one of them loyalty things that you just can fuck up a situation for you.
He had a major record deal, a major record label offer?
I don't know. I know it was a record deal. I remember him going to meet the dude, sitting down with him, and yeah.
How did you tell your mom that you weren't going to be doing the scholarship any longer and you were done with college? And when you tell your mom, did you have a chance to tell her before the incident happened, or it was after the incident happened?
We talked about it before the incident, and it was like, she was always like, we're gonna do, we can just go somewhere else, and you can go somewhere else to go in college and stuff like that. And I just wasn't feeling it. I really wasn't. And I was just going to do the same thing, go somewhere else and not feel it again. I just was out of love with the sport. It wasn't me. Like I said, after high school, it wasn't me.
What was it about it? What was it about the sport that it wasn't you? You just didn't have a love or a passion for it? Was it something that just got under your skin about it?
It was the love. It was the love. It was just gone. Like in your life, you have something you love. You disrespect something that you love, and it's supposed to love you back. When you disrespect it long enough, it ain't gonna love you no longer. So I think that's what that was. You know, you drink, I'm drinking, I'm still out in the streets, I'm doing all type of other shit. I'm coming, you know, then going to school, going to practice and doing this shit, man, I ain't respected. And then therefore, it lost love for me, so therefore I lost love with it.
Was it the fact that you weren't making any money at that time with football and maybe you were making money in the streets and other stuff that kind of turned you away from it?
It wasn't, you know, the money aspect was never really a problem for me. I was always thinking, you know, I'm a get to money eventually, but balling I ain't never really see. And then when I got to college, the shit started changing with all the rules, and you can't hit here. You gotta let this dude catch the ball before you hit him. It became cornering. It became a joke. You might as well be practicing. Can't hit the quarterback too hard. Became bullshit, straight up. You know, when we was younger, we sitting on the field, the coach told us straight up, people died on the field. Said people died on the field. People got concussions, died, sprained ankles, broken knees, actually got paralyzed. Showed us a footage of the dude, I forgot what team he was on, but he got paralyzed, I think back in the 80s. He landed on his neck on the football field, NFL. Showed us all that and he asked us, he said, do y'all want to play? Nobody's making you play this. If you can't handle it and what the consequences are, then you stay home. That's how I lived that. That's how it is. Ain't nobody begging you to do this. Ain't nobody telling you to do it. You can't do it, then go play something else. Go ball, play basketball, go play baseball. If you can't take, that's how I took that. And that's further along, and the more rule changes and stuff, I was done.
Looking back, let me ask, before I ask you this set of questions, okay, when you accept the 5-year probation deal, was that in essence a guilty charge?
Yeah, I had to take, that's what my aunt was sitting there telling me, you gotta take it. You know it's gonna be your first F. And I was like, I ain't get the magnitude of it. You know, when you running around a felony, you hear felony here, felony here. I've been getting locked up since I was 13, 12 years old, you know what I'm saying? But you hear that felony, now you an adult. This is sticking with you. I just said you 18, you know, this ain't going nowhere. And you realize that when too late, you go for a job and they see that F and they got you under criminal status, no higher, you know? And I had a kid younger, so that was hard. So, you know, you gotta do the regular thing, go to the temp agency, get a job through them, basically work on a job 4 or 5 months. Can't get hired on because you got an F, so you gotta go to another job, you know? That's how it was hard. You make it hard for people in your life when you do dumb stuff and you don't even realize the things that you do. You thinking you hurting you, but you hurting a whole line of other people. It's crazy to realize that when you get older. So when I bounced back, it was real crazy because a lot of people forsaken me for that. You know, a lot of people left me, a lot of people said I wasn't gonna be nothing. And now that I'm doing this and now I'm making noise, now that people watching me, now they proud of me. It's funny. It's funny.
Somebody watching this that's never had a felony but wants to know what that's like. Aside from being able to find a job, what else has been difficult for you because you have a felony?
When you got a felony, everything is taken up to the next level. So a regular ticket ain't a regular ticket no more. You got a felony, they run your background, they see you got a felony, they're gonna mention that to you. So yeah, it could be a speeding ticket, you be like, so I see you got an assault charge here. Like, and it's having a felony can hinder you from a lot. You can be perfect at what you do. You can be providing for your family, 3 months, you think everything good. That felony puts a damper on your life because you can't buy no gun. So literally, they telling you, you can't protect yourself. It don't matter how deep of a situation you in. It's a death sentence. People out here buying guns, shooting people for no reason. You can't protect yourself. That's what they tell you. That's what it's like having a felony. A felony is, you walk around with a felony is like walking around in a school full of people with guns and you just sitting there and you can't touch one because even if you do touch one to protect yourself, they'll hit you with having a gun as a felon. They'll forget the murder charge, that still carry 5 years. Even though you did what you had to do to protect yourself, you still gotta carry that. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's having a felony can affect you for real. You gotta watch out for that. This ain't a movie. My life might seem like a movie, some out of a movie, but it's not a movie. People gotta deal with these consequences every day, and it's a whole bunch of F's in the black community, Felony, you talk to everybody, Especially in the black community, you get hit with an F fast. And they ain't trying to bring it down. A lot of people catch felonies, they try to bring it down to misdemeanor. Nah. Can we work it to where it's a misdemeanor? Nah. We don't get them type of deals. And the reason why we don't, us black people don't get them, or people of color, period, don't get them type of deals is because we're not smart enough to know the system. We're not, like me, of course, why wouldn't I take the plea? 40, 5 unsupervised. Of course I'm gonna take the plea. You know what I'm saying? Other people, they won't take no pleas, they'll fight it. And, now the situation got, and then think about this, when you got a felony, 9 times out of 10, or 10 times out of 10, you're on probation. You know what probation mean? Probation mean you do anything, your ass is getting all this time. Even if, let's say you got 5 years probation. You did good for 3, something happened, you bug out. They're sending you back to jail for that whole 5. It don't matter that you did that 3, you was good, you had 2 years left. That's what it is. That's what life is. Living with a felony. That's the real thing of it. While your partners, everybody going out hunting and all, that's what it is. You can't do what other people do. And then, what I say, you can put me, a lot of people in a building. But a whole bunch of people let us work there, corporate. They won't tell nothing. Working hard, everybody love you. As soon as they look at your record, they start looking at you different. Like something changed, People treat you different once they know something about you. It's like, oh, he did that, but you was just my friend the other day, what done changed? People rather look at a piece of paper and judge you off of it than who's standing in front of them. That's just life.
The 5-year probation, you've completed that?
Yeah, the unsupervised, yeah.
When it comes to probation violations, if you caught a speeding ticket during that 5-year unsupervised, could that cause you to violate or no? If your PO is a dickhead, he can send you back. You're not supposed to have no contact with the police. When I say none, I mean none. If your police come to your house for a public disturbance and they find out that they was at your house, even if nothing happened, you can go to jail. It literally says no police contact, period. And if you call your probation officer, you're gonna be like, they're gonna ask you, you been in contact with the police?
You say no, you say yes, they're gonna wonder why. And then they're gonna tell you to come in. Whether you come in to explain or not, you probably go back to jail to do some time. And usually, depending on who you got, probation might be for 2 weeks, might be for 2 months. Shoot, might be for a whole year, depending on what your felony was for.
You never violated during those 5 years?
Nah, I never got violated, let's put it like that.
Did you have a run-in with the police during the 5 years?
Yeah.
How many times?
Like 2, 3. It was mostly driving.
It was mostly what?
Driving.
Oh, driving, like
Yeah.
a speeding violation.
Yeah.
Would you ever come clean about the run-in with the police with your probation officer?
I ain't had to talk to them. I was unsupervised. I was about calling them.
Okay, gotcha.
And then I remember I left Virginia, I went back to GA. I was back in Georgia.
So if it was supervised, it might be a different story.
Oh yeah, then that would have been a different story. And then you in 2 different states, so you ain't gotta really worry about that.
As somebody that has a felony, you're considered a felon. Aside from what you've said, is there anything that you would add to it? Somebody watching this that doesn't know what a felony is like, or felony feels like, or a felony, what happens when you have a felony? Anything else you would add on top of what you've already mentioned, or was that the bulk of what it's like?
That's really the bulk of it. You get hindered from a lot of things. Watch what you do, Watch everything. You gotta watch how you react. Your reactions in your life can cause a lot of things, But like anybody will tell you, I've done a lot of stuff in my life, and I catch the stuff I've done. I'm glad to be out of jail anyway. Sometimes, I be thinking I'm supposed to be in jail for a long time, but necessarily I ain't, But you sometimes you get a lucky star, I guess, and you deal your cards and you make sure you deal them right.
Are you able to vote?
Nope. So you're a zombie out here. So you get to follow laws that you don't even get to help create.
So even though you're not technically incarcerated, even though you're finished and completed the probation, in theory, you're still incarcerated in a sense.
You are, and for that, it take you you gotta pay a whole lot of money to get that F off.
That's what I was gonna ask next. Is that something that can be expunged? And if so, how?
You gotta expunge it through a lawyer. You gotta go through a lawyer, The judge has to want to let you. You have to give reason for why, which is obvious reasons why. Nobody should even have to explain to you why they don't want a felony on their record. But the only people who can see, they say expunge, it's expunged to the public. If the police can still see that you had a felony.
But is it expunged to people that, employers that will hire?
Yep.
It's hidden from them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Were you able to actually get it expunged yourself?
Actually, no, I have to wait. Definitely. I have to wait and then go through that whole process and get that expunged.
Is it a financial issue for you?
Right now, nah, it ain't even really financial. It's just, I don't feel like going back to Virginia. I do not feel like going back to Virginia.
Couldn't you just call a lawyer in Virginia and have them do that?
Nah, you gotta do all that, like, with them. That counseling right there, you have to go there. Since you're no longer a resident, you have to go there and they have to go through the files and everything. Now, is it possible? Yeah, but I haven't looked too hard into it.
So at this point in your current life, you must, again, I'm assuming here, you must be doing okay to the extent where it's not a necessity for you to go get this expunged immediately.
Oh nah, my work ethic pushed through all that. Like I've been denied the right to be employed by some good jobs over my time, but at the end, you know, I just found a place and they accepted felons. Some places do, and you know why? Because there's too many damn felons out here. You ain't got no choice. But it's gonna be dirty jobs. And you know, like I said, once I got signed up, I wasn't really worried about it, no way. But you know, you respect that. It's a different hustle to respect, because you don't go to work, you don't eat. Your family don't eat, you know what I'm saying? So you have to grow up real fast, especially, you know, when you have felonies on your background. You don't try to, I'm not the person to tell you, you know, I'm a product of my environment. I make my environment. I ain't never said nothing like that, you know. People around me, I could lie to you and, you know, be like, yeah, people around me, the circumstances around me made me do what I do. They made me do what I did. I did what I wanted to because I wanted to do it. And that's just how I lived. You know, you change after circumstances, but that's just what it is. That's being 100 with you.
When you say you signed, what do you mean by that?
I signed the Global Status Inc. record label. I signed 2 months ago. Been back and forth to Cali ever since.
And I know before I asked you, okay, if you could turn back the hands of time, what would you do different? And you said nothing, because you don't know where you would be right now if you were able to do that. But just curious, I'm going to ask you this question. This will be my final question with this interview. If you could turn back the hands of time, okay, expounding the scenario, do you wish you would have bypassed college and the whole college experience and just went straight into music or whatever it is that you were doing at the time? Or are you glad you got the experience and you went through what you went through? Not necessarily the incident that happened, but that before the incident happened, were you glad that you were able to at least have a year under your belt, experience what college is like, get the college experience, know what it's like, know that, okay, this isn't what I want to do? Or do you wish you would have just bypassed that completely?
I feel like my fall made me one of the strongest men on earth. And without it, I would have never realized how strong I was. And I never would have realized how many people didn't really care about me and how many people left me to fall flat on the floor. So when I rose up and came out of that and came back, it's something way more chewing and fulfilling about that feeling of coming from the bottom up to recreate yourself into who you really are. So I'm glad I fell. I'm glad I dealt with it. I'm glad I went through what I went through.